everyone!
And a very warm welcome to you guys joining the Sunday tango class or tango workshops.
A warm hello to all of you, wherever you are in the world. Know that we stream from London 4 days a week. So if you'd like to let us know where you're watching this video from, then please do.
So today we have a very special program because we have prepared something which is around musicality, dancing with Carlos Di Sarli, and this is one of our favorites by far, and I'm going to give you a few pointers to what was the man and the orchestra. So it should be very interesting, and of course how to dance on Carlos Di Sarli.
So we start now 2 p.m. The beginners class, and then at 3 p.m. we come back for intermediate and up. So know that if you're watching this video, we're going to be here for a while, so you should stick around, you will learn a lot.
Okay, so what about we start with a very quick word on the program coming this week?
Yes, we prefer always to start with that, so let's do. So
sure.
When is our next class, Bruno?
I don't maybe, I have to think about it.
Really?
No. No, it would be on Tuesday for our tango workouts at 12:30 UK time, so lunchtime. And this is one of our favorite classes because it's really kind of interesting, it's very lively, it's very fast, and it's designed to make you, have a bit of an exercise basically.
And it's the only weekly class that's designed that way, so it's one chance weekly, Tuesdays.
And using plenty of milonga fun music as well. So this is our first. The second is going to be our third edition of Musicality on Wednesday this coming week. And of course the last coming, in this coming week, it will be Friday, your pure technique and styling, which is entirely for solo dancers. However, all the classes will always have these solo dancers in mind, and we try to always have exercises to make sure that even if you are by yourself, you can join any of our classes during the week.
That's right.
Yes. Okay.
So what happens then? We are back on Sunday.
Well, and then of course
the loop
every
continues.
Sunday. Exactly.
So if you miss any of the classes, we'll let you know later where you can get access to it. There's a library on the website, so you can purchase these classes anytime and watch them as many times as you'd like. How cool is that?
It's nice, exactly. You can actually dance at 3 in the morning if you like. Why not?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I would. Especially if I'm not asleep. What else can you do, right?
So I have just a little bit of a personal announcement. No, don't
Disclaimer,
worry.
I have no idea what's about to happen.
I'm not getting married, don't worry. Basically, today would be the 6th anniversary of my milonga, which is called Los Anjitos. Of course, milonga I organized with Paula, and so it's a bit of a special day. So of course it's not happening today, obviously, but if you are regulars of Los Anjitos in London, a special hello to you guys, and we hope that you have a special day. We hope that we'll be able to celebrate our 6th anniversary very soon as of course we can.
Congratulations, Bruno.
Congratulations to you as well. Okay, so let's start with the program for today. Carlos Di Sarli, I'm going to say a few words, and of course I'm going to get into a bit more details when it comes to music at 3 p.m. for our intermediate lesson. So Carlos Di Sarli is obviously someone who was born in Argentina. He was actually born in Bahia Blanca. Some of you know the name because it's one of his most famous songs. Very slow from the the early career, and basically what's happened is he was the son of a big family, so immigrants who went to live in Argentina from Italy, and what is interesting is he was one of the sons and daughters of a big family of 8 children.
Wow.
Big family, right? So what's interesting as well is to know that in his family really is coming from a very musical or musician family. So in his family, just in his direct entourage, in brothers and sisters, one brother was teaching in a musical academy in Argentina, another one was a pianist,
Wow.
I think a third one was a singer, a baritone, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't know this. It's really cool. Really
Yeah.
interesting information. Actually.
Exactly, and also, of course, so he was really like always passionate about music, and his parents were also passionate about music. So he grew up in a very kind of musical environment, and it's interesting to also mention that he also had very, very strong classical music training. So interestingly, he followed classes in the academy where his brother was teaching.
Oh.
So a very, very strong kind of background, and this is why the music of Carlos Sarli is so unique and very, very rich and very, very famous. As a matter of fact, when you go to Milonga, and I know if you're a complete beginner today, you might not exactly know what it is just yet, but Milonga is our social dancing, and if you go to Milonga, it's extremely unlikely that there will be no Carlos Sarli tanda being played. The statistics is pretty much close to zero right now. Yeah. So this is how important it is, and I would even say that Carlos Sarli is one of the 4 most important orchestras when it comes to tango. The musical series, the musicality series that we have organized for you are going to go through all these 4.
So I'm curious what's going to be next one. So we looked at Pugliese.
Yes.
We're going to look at Di Sarli, and now
Well,
I kind of have an idea.
Yes,
I kind of have an idea what's the next orchestra we're going to be looking at.
You see, of course.
But maybe we just keep the suspense going.
Yes, for a few days, no? For a few days, until Wednesday. So, really, really strong musical background, and what also is interesting is a very, very early age, he started to tour in like groups of musicians, so he was exposed in a kind of orchestra from very early on. If you've seen photos of Di Sarli, you will probably see that he was wearing sunglasses. It's a bit surprising. As a matter of fact, he was involved in an accident when he was a young child, and he lost one eye, and this actually forced him to wear protective glasses all his life. So if you look at him, it's mostly on the piano. He will probably use the sunglasses to protect his eyesight. Yeah? So I believe that I don't know the details, of course, but I believe the light was hurting him. So this is why.
There's so tragic stories about this. Sometimes these composers. No?
It is
very tragic.
But it didn't prevent him from becoming an extraordinary maestro and composer, and a really, really interesting character as well. Unfortunately, so he was born in 1903. Unfortunately for us, he actually passed away quite early, as in young-ish. He was only 57 or 58, something like that, in 1960. So this is a bit sad because we would have loved to have way more songs from him.
Interesting to see how the progression would be like, no?
Yes, absolutely.
How the music would evolve.
The music did evolve, and yes, we are going to go back to that. But if you look at his career, interestingly, he was seen or known as the Señor del Tango, the gentleman of tango, and he was really famous for his slow and very melodic tangos. I'm going to give you more information at 3 o'clock how he structured his songs, but basically what is interesting to mention is that during his career he started very slow and soft, and then interestingly a little bit later in the career a certain Juan D'Arienzo started to be very popular, and it had an influence on him where he started to be a bit more upbeat, and then later in his career he came back to slightly slower songs. Of course, he always had a bit of ambivalence between slow songs and a bit more rhythmic songs, and we'll see that a little bit later as well. Okay, so I'm not going to say too much because I think you're here to dance. But what I would like to start for beginners is always have a little look at the posture, how we build the posture. So I'm going to have our feet together. Maybe I go to the center, right here. I'll have my feet together. I have my biggest smile, and I have a bit of a stretch upwards here, whilst my shoulders are going down. So we saw on Friday what to do with the shoulders in more detail. If you were there, just try to apply that today. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go a little bit back with the hips, not too much, not to a point when I'm going beyond my heels, this is too much, but a little bit back so that I'm projecting forwards like that. This is how I'm going to communicate with my partner. Very important that it's not too much, because otherwise the energy starts to be down and it starts to create problems in the embrace. So this is how you build the posture. So I'm going to also show you, as I do every single time for complete beginners joining today, and by the way, if you have friends, just ask them to come and join if they are interested.
The more the merrier. The bigger the community.
We are striving to grow this kind of Tango community. Of course, these days it's a little bit of a pause in the community, but it's going to come back in great force.
There is still a community growing ultimately online, but there is still. And by the way, a big following in Turkey. Thank you so much, guys. I just had a hello from Instagram, from a community in Turkey.
Okay.
So yeah, let's start.
So I'm going to show you how we start moving. For beginners, you are going to really work on the different stages. We're going to start with what we call the projection, which is the leg going forward. I'm going to start pushing with the back leg, and this push is from the heel, and I make sure that my back leg is straight, I don't overbend it. And I'm going to push by having the hip going slightly back to create the sensation of power coming from the floor. Now here, I pass by the center. Now, today we are going to really insist on passing by the center. I'm going to explain you why later. And I'm going to push with my foot gently until I reach this position and I can have my feet collecting. So very, very important, especially on a slow song, to have a nice movement in the way you move. 1, I push, I reach the center, I push with the back foot, and I reach my axis. That makes me want to have my feet together. Note that the torso is not involved, back and forth is staying where it is. So I'm going to have a few steps around, but I'm going to play a little bit with the rhythm. So here we go. I'm going to start with my left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And see here, there was your pause in the music. I'm going to try to respect it. I match my heels with the beat. Beat, here. I try to have a bit of circularity in the shoulders, in the hips. And here, slow down with the song. So, we're going to come back to that in a second, but I would like to have a look at what followers are doing for our complete beginners.
I really like your suit.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I like
You're wearing it too?
Alright, let's have a look at what happens for the followers' perspective, okay? First thing is, let me just move slightly this way so I can be visible on both screens. So what happens here is, I'm going to receive the indication of the leader to change the weight. That's the first thing that happens. One of the legs is going to be available for the projection, because the weight is only on one leg. Now receive the indication to go into the step with the projection. Now I create a little bit of space on the pelvis by elongating and slightly transforming the position diagonally up. Okay, so not this way, collapsing, but growing from the lower back. Okay, now the position of the free leg might be turned out or turned in. This is a question of styling. And now I'm going to push from my standing leg towards the back. This is going to be transmitted also via the leader. I'm going to push into the middle point and I'm going to transfer the weight first on the toes, The foot should then be completely turned parallel because it's safer for the joint of the foot. And I'm going to then push from the standing leg towards the heel, and my center is going to arrive back onto that axis. One more time. I'm going to project and push, transfer the weight on parallel foot, heel down, and transfer, always transferring through the center. One more time. Project, push, transfer, collect. Project, push, transfer, collect. One more time. Project, push, transfer, collect. Project, push, transfer, collect. Now as you can see, there's a little transformation of the pelvis. Each time I'm coming through the center, so I do not keep the pelvis tilted this way. This is what, no, we don't want this, but we want the coming back to be straight position and then transforming the pelvis with each projection. Transfer and returning. You're going to see a little bit more when we are going to walk together in the space.
Alright, so let's close the embrace or build the embrace if it's your first time. I'm going to invite, as you know, with my left hand. I'm going to close the embrace with my right around, right here. I can keep the embrace a bit open if it's your first time. However, we'd like you to start closing the embrace as early as you can to get used to the idea and the feeling that the connection is at this level here with the center. Okay, so this is something that you start with, and I'm going to start going into one leg, so I go a little bit back and forth from the left and the right, and I'm going to start pushing. This creates my partner to start projecting, and I follow suit in this way. So let's have a little bit of song from El Señor del Tango.
And by the way, guys, if you have any questions throughout the class, some of you already might know this, but please drop them in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to get back to all of you.
Okay. One of my favorite songs, like Pisha Blanca. So I'm going to put my partner on one leg, I'm just going to go around, and I push. Sometimes it's difficult to stop the iPad.
Yes, it's a very difficult tablet.
You're fighting me. It's like, okay, stop. Okay, so...
By the way, we did try to get a remote control, but we don't find anything compatible with this model, so we tried to go around it, we promise.
Well, to be fair, my iPad is dating from 1703, so it's a bit old.
But it's still doing the job for now.
Pre-electricity.
Let's just say there was other priorities for our equipment for these classes.
Exactly. No,
we will get there eventually.
Later. So, one thing I would like to mention is the fact that it's very interesting to note, and even for intermediates who are joining this class, I know some of you are, just to understand one fundamental fact is that Carlos and Sarli use a lot of, this sensation that the notes, if you like, are a bit stretched. So remember what you said on on Wednesday, which was around the concept of arrastre. He's using a bit of that, of course not to the great extent of Pugliese, but what is interesting here is to realize one thing, which is the fact that the notes or the beats or the rhythm is always a tiny bit late. This is why there is so much calmness in the song. This is why these songs are so calming, because we feel we don't have to rush, and it might not be the case for other orchestras. We are going to see that next week, of course, but when it comes to a melodic orchestra like the one of Di Sarli, then you will see that basically the sensation is that you don't have to rush. So very important that if you're starting now, you're actually making sure that you arrive as a leader on the hill, and even this is good, even that is being a bit early. Can you see the difference here? So we re-emphasize the fact that we are traveling and we pass by the center. So today more than any other day, when you walk forward, make sure you don't attack, which could be something we have seen on Wednesday with Pugliese, but with Sarli it's more like
laid back,
tranquil, nice, serene. This is the idea behind at least a lot of his songs. There are a few songs that are a bit more rhythmical, but a lot of songs are really around this idea. So that means that as I'm transferring the lead to my partner, I need to make sure that I always keep my hips a little bit delayed as I go forward. And the legs and the feet are doing more work than the hips, if that makes sense. So in other terms, I'm not attacking with a sudden surge. I'm delaying and almost trying, I say trying in a quote, to be a little bit late by 1.5 nanoseconds.
And it's that precise.
Yeah. Okay, maybe too precise. A little, yeah. So this is something that I like to mention. And the second thing is, there are lots of pauses in the song. We're going to do one more of this here around, with Paula, and we'll try to see where we can just breathe in and take maybe 2 or 3 seconds before we resume. Yes, so just like playing a little bit with this sensation where you go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, there's a bit of slowing down, and we go. Down, and we go. Okay, let's have a look. Maybe you will use the rhythmical part of the song. Okay. So this is simply how you can start playing with the rhythm. Now, it's not easy, it's easier, it looks easier than it actually is, but when you start slowing down, you need to really kind of push with the back leg and make sure that the back leg is getting a bit heavier to have this sensation of slow movement here. Make sure you don't stop sharply for 1 second. It's more of a slow movement, which is always a little bit in transfer rather than a sharp attack forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we carry on?
I think we should.
Okay, so we will show you one thing that you can do, beginners, for something that works well in a Carlos Di Sarli song, where we have the follower staying on one leg and we'll see what the leader is doing. If you are a solo dancer, if you don't have any partner, we're going to show you in detail so you can practice a little bit right now. So I'll show you first how it looks, and then we are going to see in stages how it works. So I'm going to get my partner in corte, establish contact with the foot, and I'm going to gently do that here. So let's have a look at basically how we get into corte first, because this is very important. So I would like to give a little exercise.
Sure.
And by the way, leaders, if you're leading, I really recommend you do that as well, because it's going to help with your balance and understanding the body mechanics in Tango. So we're going to have our weight on the left leg, and I'm going to start rotating my torso, and Paula, maybe you can jump in if you like. You are going to rotate the torso, and we are going to extend the foot here before we go back with the hips, and we gently go down in a corte, making sure that we don't have the problem which appears sometimes of followers, which is going back there. So note that the torso is staying forward, and I'm using my back foot and my toes to get in this position. At this stage, my right is bent, my left is straight.
So the legs are close. If you can see one leg in front of the other, there's no gap. Let me show you this way. There's no gap. And later we're going to move this way. Yeah? So no gap. And what Bruno was explaining about the hip, the alignment of the hip, you want to try not to have that way or not that way, but slightly sit on that standing leg down, but keeping the alignment of the hips parallel with the floor. So you have shoulders, hips, and floor. Everything is in parallel, you see?
So should we do it a few times, a few quarters?
Of course, yeah.
So I suggest followers and leaders, we go to the side onto our left leg here. We are going to start pivoting the torso. We end up in this position where our weight is fully on the front leg, which is the left, but our knees are connecting, and I'm going to point the foot here. I'm going to gently bring my hips back. That takes me slightly down, and I make sure that my forward leg, my front leg, which is the left, is straight, and there is no gap, as Paula said, between right and left leg here. And I'm going to go back, and I'm going to have a little rotation to go back where I just started. So, one, and here, gently, down, and back up, there. Let me do it with a different angle. I'm going to do roughly a quarter turn on the left leg. The right is going to start pointing, and I'm going to gently go down, and go back up. I start with the torso, and I have my feet together at the end. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Something that I would like to mention, in the corte, it's very, very important that you really work with the foot. So it's not like, this is not good. If you do this here, and you kind of collapse on the back leg, it's going to make you almost wanting to fall backwards. So very important that you receive your weight on the toes here, and you work with the foot to really go down with control, and you don't collapse backwards.
Nice, nice, looking good.
So one more time. First, the torso is pivoting, the hips second, you bring your foot back, you get your your knees together, and your foot is really pushing the floor. You go down, and you stay in this. It's like you're sitting on the right leg. You're going to go the same thing in reverse. You start with the torso, and it makes you able to turn to go back to the original position.
And saludos Argentina. We have Argentina in the house. We have Holland, Germany, Italy, Turkey. From what I gathered, so welcome again, everyone.
All in this small space.
All in this small space.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so let's have a look at the scolte first, and then we'll have a look at what we call the barrida. So, first of all, I need to be aware as a leader, on which leg I am. So I'm going to do a few steps forward, and I'm going to end on the right leg. So maybe we just start here so you can see. Here, I'm going to finish on the right leg, and she's on the left here. At this stage, I'm going to pivot my partner. So leaders, the lead is going to be staying on the right leg at this stage, a pivot of the torso, the hips is not moving. Yes, can you see? It's this one here.
And have a look forwards at what happens with the free leg. So my weight was shifted here to the left, and I'm keeping my foot close, so all the heels are together, but there is no weight on the foot, so that is available. And when I pivot over one leg. There's still no weight on that right foot.
Now, leaders, once you have achieved this quarter turn rotation of the follower in front of you, you are going to lead your partner to go back and to get into corte. You need to do two things. First of all, make sure that you lead from the back, not from the arms. I'm not pulling towards me, I'm not pushing back. It's actually my back here. Maybe I just would like to be in this position here. This part here is pushing and pulling a little bit so that she goes around me. And then at the end, I'm going to go a little bit down with my energy here. So I'm not doing this. This is unnecessary. I'm just having a tiny bit of a flex so that she understands she needs to go down in a corte. Yes, so this is very, very important for leaders today to understand that all the lead is coming from, or most of it is coming from the back and some from the hips. Of course, your arms are quite strong and they communicate information from your body to her, but very, very important for followers that this arm here is going to have a good connection with the back of the leader.
That's the left arm, yes?
That's the left arm, yes. Because what you want to feel is inviting you around you, and then is inviting you slightly down here, which is the lead for the corte. Very tempting, guys, if it's your first time, to do this.
That's actually not really leading, it's not really indicating what you need to do. Yeah.
I remember, like, how is it called? WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. It looks like wrestling a bit, no? I'm going to get you on the floor with my arm.
Ineffective.
So not the kind of thing that we want to do in tango. It's a little bit different. This is why, as a leader, very important for you to understand, leaders, that most of the signals are starting from the back. Therefore, the follower has to be really listening the back of the leader. Here, I could do the same without any indication from the arm. Because she has a good contact with my back, she understands where to go and where to be, and when to go.
So it's important that I offer a little bit of resistance of my left arm, pressing a little bit towards the back of the leader so that I can feel the rotation, in this case right hinge. When it happens, I can then respond with my pivot and the shift of the weight at the end.
There. Okay. So, I'd like to carry on.
Okay.
Good. So, once we have our follower in a corte position, the idea for followers is that you are going to wait because you don't see or feel any signal. So once you are down, do not try to go back up unless you feel there is the opposite movement, which is bringing you forward. So why is it important? Because here my intention is going to be to first of all keep you there, and my right leg is going to establish contact with her left foot, sorry. Here. Yes, so maybe a little bit turn this way. Here, my partner is around me, and look what I do with my foot. I'm going to open and have this position here. Now, in terms of foot position, not too deep, just this part, the toe in contact with her, maybe small toe, not here. Once you're here, you're going to do one thing, which is to start using your transfer weight. So you're going to transfer the weight from the back to the forward leg, from the left to the right leg, and you're going to go forward here.
Can I add one thing?
Yes, you can.
Nothing happens here with the position of the follower, so it's not leading me to go into another shift of the weight or into another rotation.
That means,
yes, so I'm kept on that position. It's really important.
That means my frame is very soft here. I don't want her to feel anything here. It's very soft. I just go forward here. So let's do it maybe back to the camera so they can see and maybe replicate as a leader and a follower. Here, I pull around me, I bring my foot here, and at this stage here, I'm going to go forward to the right foot here. Now, I'm going to go and project the left foot, the left leg, around here. I'm going to explain a tiny bit more where, but at this time, what I would like to show you is that by going forward, I'm going to be able to point my foot and push the foot of my partner in this ballerina.
A little break, because my right leg is
complaining.
complaining. It's okay. So what happens then, for the point of view of the follower, I am positioned on that back leg with my weight on that back foot, on the right foot, and then this happens. So there's a rotation, the pivot is taking everything with it. Keeping the space of the legs together, as explained before, not bending the forward leg, but keeping that. So this would also be a good exercise for solo dancers.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So you can have that and then that. So what we try here to generate the pivot from the upper body rotation, and then you can try that with both legs. So you can have to the right. This is probably a little bit more challenging, turning to the left, but if you remember to engage the center, keep everything compact and stay on the standing leg all the time, not transferring the weight into the front, so over the back foot. This is also a good test to see if you have any weight on the free leg.
Alright, so let's put it all together. I'm going to make sure that my partner is onto her left leg, so I'm going to stop on the right. I'm going to start leading the rotation. I'm inviting her down, and I'm going to position here, and I'm going to start the ballerina. Now, maybe a little bit more center so they can see. So this is how we are in this position here. Now, I'm going to go, my foot leaders is going to be going forward. Be careful, not this way. I'm just doing a forward step here. This is important because it's very, very tempting, because the lady is going in a rotation, to start doing something a little bit funny like that. Yeah? So
to be avoided at all costs.
To be avoided if possible. So we're here. I'm going to go forward. My intention is forward, but it's around this circle that she's going to do with her left foot. And I'm going to have a tiny bit of flex of the right knee so that I can catch the leg here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as an alternative ending, what I do, I finish in this position, which is pretty much what I had at the start. I'm going to invite my partner to be facing me again, and I get my feet together. So what happens here, and this is a very, very kind of quick exercise for leaders, is I'm going to go forward, bend the knee, and push in an arch, if you like, a semicircle around, and of course the hinge of rotation is her right foot. So if you can visualize, leaders, the right foot being the center, what you need to do, I think it's fine. What you need to do is simply have this arch going here. So let's practice just a couple of moments. I'm going to go 1, I go forward, and 1, I go forward. Note that I'm pointing my foot here. That's for extra design. Bum, bum. And I try to make sure that my partner is always at the center of my circle. In other terms, I don't go away from her like this, or I don't go towards her, which would actually make her, struggle with balance here. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's try together.
Okay.
So we do it together. Solo dancers, if you like, you can either practice this little circle where you go around. It doesn't look difficult, but of course the difficulty is in the precision of never doing an oval, but always a circle, this way, not some kind of weird shape. And if you want to practice the follow movement, of course, is this rotation of the torso, which helps you having this rotation here. There, okay. If you're in a couple, you can of course get together. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get in a place where I know I have enough space. 1, and then here I'm going to do that. Maybe I close here. and I do it again. Here. Corte. Contact with the foot, and I'm going to gently push there. One last thing for leaders, very important guys, do not do this. As in, do not go forward with the foot. The foot goes by itself. There is no movement of the torso when you do your barrida. This is very, very important, otherwise you feel always a little bit of balance here.
And one thing for the followers, utilize the frame, not over-utilize, but utilize the frame for you to have a little bit of stability during your pivot. So we create a little bit of resistance towards each other, and that gives a lot of stability for the moment I need to pivot, you see? So if my frame is not really activated, then it's going to be a little bit harder to keep the balance on the pivot.
Okay, should we try with the music?
Yes.
Okay.
And what I would suggest is, because we are approaching the end already, I would suggest that we dance for a little and then give them the time with the music to practice.
Yeah.
And then we will look at the questions.
Okay, sure.
Does that sound like a plan?
It sounds like a plan to me. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
No, I mean, can I be one asking the question?
Yes, of course. Maybe
So
your question is helping
I need
everybody
to
else.
check the live, what's happening then.
You have to type the question.
That would be a bit strange, but okay. Alright, so let's do it together. Okay, so you can practice a few moments and we'll have a look at your questions.
Wow, it responded the first time I touched it.
Well done. So, we have a few questions. The first one is, where is this rotation coming from? I think it's a bit of a blend, a mix, but most of the energy for the follower to rotate is coming from the foot being pushed. This is why it's called a barrida, which is a foot, basically foot pushing, if you like. A barrida is all these steps where I'm having contact with one foot of the follower and I'm pushing it left, right or center. Of course, there are many types of barridas. This is something that we'll explore in the near future.
But definitely, sorry if I also may say something.
You did. I said it's mixed.
Yes, I really think it's mixed because just the foot, if there was no rotation of the upper body, this would just send me the leg, okay? But the fact that I have a pivot is coming from the rotation of the upper body and the leader walking around me. So
yes, rotation.
So there is it's
a mix.
different elements coming together.
Yes.
And there's another question as well.
Well, yes, to finish on this question, be careful though, leaders, that it's not you starting to rotate with your arms, because then you actually lose the foot contact here. So it's a very delicate balance to find, and I would say 78% foot, 22% torso.
That's very precise.
Yes.
We need to get the calculator out and
Yes,
then
absolutely.
calculate each angle. Yeah.
Other question?
Yes, there was one more question. Let me see who that was from. So the follower rotates on a bent leg. How best to keep the legs together? So ask this question: how the best way to keep both legs together? The best way is to have the awareness that you need to keep both legs together. Okay. Now, how we do that? By just feeling the contact of the knees and keeping that awareness throughout the whole barriga and the rotation. So if I'm keeping the contact of both knees together and I'm turning, I can feel that connection is still there. So look after that point meeting between both knees. I hope this answers the question. Okay guys, so I think we are arriving to the end of the class.
Okay. So maybe
Before we demonstrate for you,
we're going to do a little dance, but yes, let's have a few moments to explain, how this works. So basically, we have, as we mentioned earlier, a couple of things. First of all, we have a full library. Every single class that was given since we started during the lockdown, that's about 6 weeks ago now, I believe, is online, and it's the library. So
yes, I'm going to demonstrate for you.
Yes.
No, let me.
Okay, sure.
So this is for YouTube Proud. This is where you can get the access to all the episodes slash classes that we have available to you, and there's about more than 20 now. That's adding
It's
quickly.
like a very good Netflix series.
Yeah,
no?
it's like Tango Netflix. Yeah, so let me show for the Instagram lovelies. So we have here the link where you can, like I was explaining before, have access to all the videos that we have out there. Moving on, so the ones that follow me on Instagram already know where they can find this live, but you can also decide to become a follower of Tanguito Academy. I believe you are releasing videos and tips.
Yes.
So you will learn a lot from both accounts. We're both very, very active. So let me show you here.
Yes, follow me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Closer. Okay, maybe not so close.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly but not least, we are going to show you the link where you can please purchase a ticket for these classes. So, excuse me, the paper is looking a little bit sad.
It's tired.
It's a little bit tired. But anyway, we're going to show you the link one more time during the break. But if you have to rush out, then if you could make a mental note, that would be amazing. So you can really help us with our work. So this is where you guys can go and get a ticket. And finally, let's just demonstrate for you what we've done today.
Okay, a little demonstration, so we'll improvise the dance on Carlos and Sarli, and then we have a little break towards our internet lesson.
Yes, and then we'll be back at 3 p.m. for the second class.
Thank you very much for coming today and joining the class.
Enjoy the break, we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
More Carlos and Sarli.
And we're going to show you where you can then visit if you have a little break now. Okay, dokie.
Here you go.
Okay guys, see you very soon. Don't go anywhere. We're watching you. And a warm hello back to you all.
Welcome back. So this is your Sunday afternoon intermediate and advanced lesson or workshop. And today we have a very nice program because we are going to have a look, if you just joined us, at Carlos Di Sarli, the man and the orchestra, and the music, of course. So do you want to have a very quick word about the program for next week?
Yes, so for the ones who don't, we are not familiar yet with the schedule. We stream 4 days a week, so we have plenty of classes online for you. And so the very next class will be on Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. UK lunchtime. The reason I say lunchtime because 12:30 might be a little bit confusing. Is it afternoon? Is it night? So no, it's the beginning of the afternoon. That's the workout. It's only once a week that we provide that class. Then we are back on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. for your beginners tango class, intermediate and up from 8 p.m. Then back on Fridays for the technique and styling class, 8 p.m. leaders, 7 p.m. leaders, 8 p.m. followers. And then we are back on Sunday for another afternoon class, 2 p.m. Just a note that we decided to start streaming on both platforms, YouTube and Instagram. So if you have a preference, feel free to join in whichever way you are more comfortable with. And also remember, if you for any chance are not able to join the live, we do have a library with all the classes that we streamed until now. I believe there's around 20 of them available to you. And that's a library, you can find them both on my website and Bruno's website, tangito.co.uk or pauladuarte.tango.com. So plenty of information there that you can find.
Okay, so let's start. I would like to start with a few words about Carlos Di Sarli. So
Go for it.
I go for it, absolutely. So basically, we had a look at the man a bit earlier. If you just joined, I'm going to summarize what was said. He was born in 1903 in Argentina from an immigrant family, very, very big family, had brothers and sisters, 8 of them, and a lot of them were musicians, and he received a classical training. So his forte, if you like, is this very, very incredibly complex melodies. So some orchestras, early age, they're called La Guardia Vieja, so you're talking, before the 30s, used to really love very simplistic melodies, and of course, it's not a rule, some orchestras were a little bit more complex, but some of them liked very, very rhythmical, a bit simplistic in a way, because they were easier to dance. Now, Di Sarli, with his musical education, started to have a look at how to bring all this richness of classical music into tango, and this is why his work is so incredibly rich and so nice to dance to. Of course, his songs were designed for dancers, for dancing, and I'm going to say a few words about how it can be done. But before I do, I like to finish one thing about the man. So I said earlier that he established an orchestra quite early, so he started to tour with other musicians. I believe he was 13 at that age, so
Really?
very young age.
Wow,
Yes.
that is very young. He had permission from his parents too.
So, well, he probably was doing with the parents anyway. But what's interesting is in 1929, so he was only 26 years old, he established his first sextet, so 6-people band, if you like.
How old was he again? Sorry.
26.
Wow. That's a very successful 26-year-old.
It's good, huh? It's very good, I know. And he started to compose, of course, for his orchestra. And the first sextet, I believe, was about 10 years, because in 1939 he established his first orchestra tipica, which is the full range of orchestras, instruments in the orchestra. Di Sarli is very, very well known for, as I said, these kind of complex melodies, and he was very good at using the strings. So he's the king of the strings, of course. The piano is there because he was often playing as well, but really strong string formation in the Sarli, sometimes up to 7 or 8 strings. I believe he didn't use many cellos, but it was mostly violins, and of course the double bass, and of course the bandoneon. That's without saying. So 1939 is exactly the year where Juan D'Arenzo started to be very popular. So D'Arenzo influenced Di Sarli, and this is why in some of his songs he started to change a little bit the style into having something a bit more rhythmical. So his signature from there was this interesting game between very melodic, soft parts and the rhythmical part. So what is the challenge when you dance a Di Sarli is to try to catch this moment when it's very slow and when it's a bit quicker. This is, how obviously you do dance based on the Carlos Di Sarli song. He died a bit, as I said earlier, a bit young, unfortunately, at the age of 57 or 58.
Wow.
In 1960. Yes, so that's quite
Very
early.
tragic, yeah.
It is. So when we look at the tango song from Di Sarli, basically what you can have a look at is you have the parts which are, I would say, melodic. They're called marking in 2, which means that you have only the 1 and the 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The 1 and 3 being very present, very strong, and the 2 and 4 very, very weak. Yeah, so this is why you want to stay on the beat. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Except the 2 and 4 you can't really hear. And then suddenly he goes to the marking in 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And in tango terms, this is when you say, well, he's playing the half beats. Yeah, so this is how you recognize the different parts. Most of the time, he would play where there's a full section of 2 bars, i.e. 8 beats, in marking of 4, followed by a full bar of marking of 2, so there's always this correspondence between the two. But occasionally, he would also try to play with the dancers, because in one section of 2 bars, the first bar of 4 beats would be rhythmical and then suddenly melodic. So something to really play with, yeah? So what is very important in a Di Sarli interpretation in terms of how we move is to make sure that you really try to respect all these moments of tranquility. What does it mean? It means that when you go forward, you don't attack quite sharply, you try to really pass by the center. So this is very, very important for especially you leaders to try to understand that basically what happens here is I'm not trying to arrive, it's about the journey. Yes? D'Arenzo, if you like, you can say it's about the destination because it's very sharp at times. Di Sarli is more about getting there. So this is why it's very important to really take your time and have the hip being a little bit delayed when you walk about. This is something that you need to keep in mind here. One of his signatures, if you like, in terms of the music, is the fact that he was very using the legato, the linked notes. So the notes are all like coming together very, very gracefully, and this is how the musicians were playing together.
I have an idea. Shall we play some Di Sarli music?
Yes, of course.
So that they can, it can be illustrated to what
yes,
we are
absolutely.
explaining.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look at. For example, Cascabelito. Here we say very rhythmical parts. This is when you play. And then here, maybe you catch the violins, so you interpret it as more melodic, and then suddenly the notes, the way they are played, again legato is different. He is more perhaps the melodic parts, you take your time. You want to do that to play with the music, but maybe here, same, you follow violins. And here,
we can have a reference, actual reference.
Yes, so this is how you play with a song with Sarli, always trying to change a little bit the rhythm. Do not try to be always slow, of course, you can, but it's very interesting to start to play with these different contrasts. Now, do not think as an intermediate dancer, leader, that you have to be necessarily following every single moment of the song. It might be a little bit strong, you want to step and go places, but maybe it could be an idea to do the opposite extreme. So it's actually something that we all sometimes do, where the music goes a bit quicker and we go very, very slow as a dancer, just to mark a bit of a contrast, to have an interesting idea, saying, actually I understand the music very well here, but I'm playing with it as well.
So basically it can be a choice not to be so literal with the music.
Exactly.
So it can be a choice. But the important thing is you make these conscious decisions of what you want and what you want to express.
Yes.
And in order to do that, you need to know the music.
This is always what we recommend to every dancer. Spend the maximum, the optimum amount of time at home you have at home to listen to tango, because when you go back to the milonga, you will know every single song and you'll be the king of the floor. Because of course, it's so much easier.
You definitely want to be the king of your own floor, no?
Yes, the milonga later.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
But it's very important, yes, of course it's easier to dance on a song that we know, so this is why as tango dancers we need to, it's recommendable that we listen to as much tango as we can.
And what happens after a while is when you listen to a lot of music and you get that experience, which is, it can take years, I think,
yes,
to actually understand a song well. Then what happens is, at least this was what happens for me, I think a lot of people can relate, you don't need to think so much, kind of just happens.
Yes, because obviously the follower, you know the music, and you can, it's not anticipating, there's a very, very important difference to understand. You're not anticipating, but the music is clarifying the lead, and you can almost kind of make sense a little bit more. You know, it kind of provide context if you know the song, therefore you know what to start doing to anticipate the fact that I might change the speed, for example. So as a follower, you might be very relaxed because the song is very soft, and then you know that the next part, it's a bit more rhythmical. You're going to tense up a little bit the embrace to be ready for a change of direction or a change of speed indicated by the leader. So this is not anticipating, it's just getting ready for what's coming.
It's just really being present. I think that's the main responsibility,
yes,
I would say, of the follower, is to be completely present for any changes that can happen at any moment and be open to that and know how to adjust.
Exactly. So one last thing, and then we'd like to show you our first little experiment that we have on Carlo di Sarli. When you hear something rhythmical, often you want to walk. You know, the walk is rhythmical by nature, so you want to go places. So if it goes pam, 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 you want to do something with the feet and move. Now, if it's more melodic, more a bit softer if you like, feels a bit slower, then what we recommend you do, it's not a must of course, it's just a tip for dancers. Try to think more in terms of what makes one of the dancers still with one foot not leaving the floor. Typically, calcitas, planeos, we're going to have a look at a few examples where we have 1 or 2 feet on the floor and one of us is not moving. Of course, the other can be moving, but it's actually going to be much more in sync with the music if one of us is interpreting the song, which is soft, therefore we are not changing the location. Yes, that is something that we are going to have a look at.
Yes, let's move on to more practical.
Okay,
side of
so
the class.
what I like to start with is this very simple exercise where we have our feet together. I'm going to be on the ball of my feet and I'm going to start dissociating here and I'm going to pivot on the ball. Note that I pivot on 2 feet and not 1. Yes, so it's not being on one leg and then starting to do that here. It's being on 2 legs and pivoting 1 and coming back, other side and coming back. So let's do it quickly together. Pum, 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 and one more time. Now, I recommend when you practice at home to feel that you have a lot of leg engagement to the floor so that you are not feeling wobbly. How do you do that? By simply using more your inner thighs. You kind of press your legs together, even if the feet are staying apart, you're pressing the legs together and you're stretching here, and that makes you much more stable. Doesn't matter if you're in heels or not. This is the desired effect. This is just a pivot on 2 feet. Voila. Let's have a look. So I'm going to start, I'll show you first what we have in mind, which is a very soft calcita, but a little bit different because it's going to be starting on 2 feet. I'm going to do a side step. I'm going to start pulling from the left shoulder, and I'm going to invite my partner to stop in the middle. How do I do that? It's called a question of timing. If I don't pay attention, I just pull with my left shoulder. She's going to collect
and very likely go to the hero. So.
Exactly, because it is the start of the hero. Except here, I'm going to use 2 things. First of all, I'm going to use the timing, and I'm going to use the right part of my embrace to say, please stop here. Now leaders note I have also pivoted on 2 feet at this stage. I was facing her, and I'm going to make sure that she's here. At this stage, I'm going to make her understand that I want her not to move, and I'm going to go around her. So let's have a look how it looks. 1, and I'm going to come here, and I'm going to go backwards there. There's a moment here where she cannot be on 2 legs anymore. She's naturally going to transfer to the forward leg, and I'm going to continue. At this stage, I'm going to pull with my left hand. And I'm going to finish with a little planeo and finish here. So let's have a look again. Maybe starting in this position to change. So I'm going to indicate, please stop here. My foot is towards her back leg, and I'm going to start going around. I maintain her in the middle here with my embrace. She's going to pivot on 2 feet, and at this stage here she cannot anymore. We are almost in Americana, and I'm going to start going around. I'm going to flex a bit. She's going to understand she needs to close. There's a little sandwich, and off we go.
I'm going to explain a few more details about this because I think we have a few things to say. And one more time, if you have any questions throughout the class, Instagram, YouTube crowd, please drop them in the comment section and we'll come back to you. So let me just guide you through what happens from a forward's perspective, okay? So the first thing that happens here is that I feel a slight compression towards the ground. And that indicates me that I'm going to be placed in the middle. The weight is on 2 legs now, okay? Now, when the leader starts to go around, I feel there's no lead, so he's just leaving me there. So you see what happened here was nothing for me, it just went onto the other side. Now, if you keep going, if you continue going here, now what happens is, I then going to start pivoting on both legs, I'm still in the middle, and now when he's continuing to going around, I'm then transferring, then transferring onto the left. So I was on 2 legs, if you could just help me for a second. So 2 legs, going through the middle, forward, and with the continuation of the rotation, then I'm going into that forward leg. So the ending position here, it's over the forward leg with a lot of rotation. Now I'm utilizing the embrace here, being very, very aware. How does the embrace can help me? So there's 2 things here. One is the contact of my left arm with the back of the leader.
Muy importante, very important here.
Muy importante.
Because it kind of allows me not to have to pull or push too much, because you are helping yourself a lot, ladies, with the rotation.
So if I am, how can I make the best out of the embrace here to help me stabilizing the pivot with the rotation? I have my left side here, which is compressing a little bit on the leader, so when he goes around, we have the resistance of he's going back, but I'm pulling towards him, so we have a stable left side for me here. The next thing is the right side of the embrace. I cannot extend my arm outside of my space, but I need to actually do the opposite. I'm going to slightly retract it, and leader is doing the same. So I'm actually doing it as a result of a request of the leader to pull again. So in Tango we have the resistance in and out, so the push and the pull. Now this needs to be communicated what is important for a certain effect that you need. In this case, it's a pull. So he's pulling with his left side and I'm pulling again. So we have that very stable side of the right, side of the embrace. And finally, one thing for styling is, because most of the weight is on the toes anyway, I like to take the heel off the floor on the pivoting leg.
Nice.
Now this is I would say optional, but if you want the heel on the floor, just remember, do not have weight on the heel. Okay, can have just a little, but if you have too much weight on the heel, you're not going to be able to pivot. So how can I test that? I can lift the heel, so you can see now aesthetically it works much better.
And here the ending is going to be for me to have an extra pull of my left part of the embrace, and I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to go sideways with my right. I plant my foot on the floor and I indicate this is the exit, and I prepare my left so that it's ready for the little sandwich at the end.
Shall we show it one more time, just the exit?
Absolutely.
Maybe the whole thing?
Yes. So maybe I'm starting with a backward show, why not? I'm taking her here, I make sure that she's understanding I don't want her to do in a heel, and then here she starts to pivot on her left, and I finish this way here. Of course I would then invite her with the right part of my embrace. So should we show it? Maybe if you're a solo dancer, my recommendation to you is to practice being with the right forward and the left backwards. You are going to go on 2 feet, pivoting towards your left. Make sure that the torso is starting the movement. Yes, do not go straight away. The torso is starting the movement. It's almost like your dissociation is making you pivot. Now, at this stage, you can't pivot anymore. This is where you have a bit of a reveal of an extra pivot. Of course, you can do much more than 270 degrees, something like that, maybe 360 at the most, if you have a lot of energy, but because you don't have anyone to push you around. But very important to practice here and finish that.
Also, one more thing, if I may add, of course you can do this exercise for leaders and followers, but try to really utilize the opportunity to be aware of where the transfer of the weight happens. So, to know if I'm here and I'm here and I'm here, now I am going to the front before I pivot. So really go through all these stages, or into this side, it doesn't matter. So you go in here, in this case to the front, right? So
yes,
it doesn't really matter. But you can try both directions, to the right and to the left. Here, don't try to take it into the next stage yet, because I'm still in the middle, but continue the rotation as you go to the forward leg.
Okay.
I think you agree?
Absolutely. And that's
so
actually
very happy
it's also an interesting...
when we agree.
Well, agree. Something that happened here...
90%, I think.
89. Something that actually happened here is that Paula showed you that you can do both ways. So we showed you with this attack here, but of course you can also put it here and go on the other side. In which case it's a bit more classic, if you like. It's a forward step for you leaders and not a back step here. So I show one more time. If you're sending your partner to your right, be careful, this is not a corte, because you want your partner to be in the middle. So your embrace is going to tell her, stop, you have a bit of a compression here, and you gently go around, before here there is a point of resistance, and you're going to help her a little bit extra with dark movement here with a parallel. So let's have a quick maybe part of the song. Yeah.
And then maybe we'll limit half a song for you guys to practice. Let's give it some time, yeah? Let's give it some time.
De un pueblo provinciano, muy junto a un arroyuelo de fiesta, y cámara de sal, tus manos que encendían mi corazón de niño, y al pie de un santo Cristo, las aguas del cariño me dabas a beber.
Okay, so just to quickly ask this question, what's the timing of the heel going up? I believe this was the question. It was not very clear, but I believe that's what you meant. So the timing of lifting the heel would be the moment that I've already transferred completely forward, and now I'm going to continue that way. Yeah, repeat, please come back one more time. So I'm transferring forward, and now heel. You don't want to do it any time before that or later, too late. So it has to be the moment arrive and heel, and then you would continue then with rotation. And just one quick thing that I showed in the demonstration. Thank you. You can also take the free leg off the floor. You can leave it behind, but you can also bring that knee together with the other knee and bring the leg off the floor. So let me show you. Okay, going over the front leg, heel off the floor, and now knee up. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to a little bit of a bolero, because again it works very well, from Americana. This is what we are going to do. We are going to go straight to Americana, and we are going to send our partner around. Now this is a very nice way to send our partner around. Basically we are going to not send around with the torso, but with the back. What does it mean? It means I'm going a tiny bit forward and immediately I'm retracting back, having a tiny bit of dissociation. Look what happens here. 1, 2. It's almost effortless. The thing to remember in the Americana leaders is it's very tempting to go and finish here. The problem here is if you start doing the hero, look what happens. She's going miles away. Ciao. So very important when you have this kind of energy, the soft energy, that you go and you come back. Yes. So if I shoot from the side, these leaders, you go and you come back. So the front leg, the front foot is really pushing as soon as you have it on the floor.
Timing is so
One,
important.
two.
Yeah, so important as
One,
always.
two. And here, interestingly, you will have the opportunity to send your partner around to the left with minimum effort. That means the embrace, the arms, basically there is nothing there. It's just a tiny bit of hop, and that's what it takes. Yes, I could even do it without this if I wanted to, because Paula has a good connection in my back, here and there. Now, why is it important or interesting? Sorry, it allows us to change a lane very quickly. Look what happens. She's on my inner lane, and within a very short time, I'm going to be able to come to that lane here. Okay, so this is something that we would like to show you, going forward and back with your back leader, so that the follower understands she has to go around. You don't need the arms. Now, I'm going to add one more thing. As I'm going to come here, I'm going to send her around. I'm going to pivot a little bit, and I'm going to really arrive onto my right hip. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and immediately I'm going to go back to my left hip and left leg. So there's a bit of back and forth movement here. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3.
So this may be a good exercise for solo dancers, right?
Yes, absolutely. So let's go right forward. You sink into the hip, and you sink into the hip here. 1, 2, and 3. Of course, as we'll see, we'll have to get our feet a little bit together, a bit more together, but for now, the idea is just to push the floor, have a real strong weight here, and go back to the other side here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to use this energy to lead a soft bolero, which works quite well in the case of Sarli. 1, 2, pop, and here I come back to original position. So basically what happens here is I send her to my left, I do bolero, and I do it again. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and.
Can I say one thing about the head of the follower?
One thing.
Just one thing, I promise this time. I always get carried away just because I love to. There's so much to explain. But
Okay.
anyway, just one thing to remember is the position of the head, because we don't always remember what happens with the head.
That's
What
true.
we do with the head. So in this situation here, I need to, well, let me just guide you through it, okay? So we have,
Yes? This
You
way?
okay?
This way, the position
you
of the
okay?
head?
You
This
sure
way?
you're
This way?
okay? So we're facing each other, as you know, here American position, facing each other. And now I'm going to be taken on this side, so the head goes with me. And now, as soon as I feel the contour, the head is going on the other side. Yeah? And now we continue. I keep the head on this side. And now I'm bringing again to the left. Left. Right. Left. And right. Do you see how much movement, some more volume I can get in the movement just by utilizing the energy of the spine, placing my head where it's benefiting the most.
So for me, one thing that is very interesting for leaders is this step is led with the hips. I know it sounds very, very strange. It's what I'm trying to do here. Let's see what happens if I try to lead it with the arms too much.
Good luck.
See, there's too much energy, and she's fighting for balance here because I really send her, around with too much energy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to soften my embrace, not to make it completely soft, of course, because I still need a firm one so that she can push back against it. But I'm not going to use my arms too much today. I'm going to really have this hip going left and right.
And I think if I'm right, there's also circularity, no?
Yes.
So it's not like you're just going
Ah,
linearly.
no. This is not like no.
Oh, I was gonna say Saturday night, no, it's Sunday.
Saturday night, yes,
So there
freestyle.
is that feeling of going around with the axis of the hip rather than linear.
Yes, but this doesn't work on
It
Saturday, I'm afraid.
doesn't work, yeah.
So let's do it back to the camera. I'm going to go 1, 2, hop, and I come back with the foot. Note that my foot, my right foot, I leave it. Let's finish here, so that is not too close to camera.
Okay.
I'm going to leave my right a little bit later, a bit longer, so that I feel that my partner is coming back, so I'm not rushing into my next americano. 1, 2, hop, here, and now I bring the foot forward here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this is how it works. Maybe just a few times on the music and then
Yes,
to carry on.
but they give them some time as well. No?
Yes, but I'd like to show something else.
Okay.
We are in a
You're
busy
the
schedule.
boss.
We are in a busy schedule. Okay.
Okay, let me just quickly have a look.
Maybe a guitar outside. Okay, so this is how it works. What of course I did here is I did not ignore the fact that there was a rhythmical part in the song, and I tried to do a few back and forth boleros. It was a bit challenging of course because it was quite long.
Yes, and also I forgot to say one thing, is that the free leg does not have to go up on the bolero, you can keep it on the floor as well. Yeah,
It's
so
up to you.
it's a two, it's a styling preference. However, I kind of take the inspiration from the music that's being presented, the moment of the music that's being presented to
A
me.
bit soft.
Yeah, but also what's the impulse that I'm getting from the leader, that's also influencing. But let me show you the two options.
So if maybe as a leader, if I want a very soft bolero, I'm going to make the transition quite soft and slow. For example, here, see I'm kind of really taking my time for my recorrido, for the return if you like. Now if I want something a bit sharper, I will actually lead the return a little bit earlier, here, and maybe this is what makes my follower want to raise the leg, but in a way it's her choice, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I think it's more unlikely that it will happen with this Sarli, depending on also what kind of this Sarli. But yeah, so it's just to keep an open mind to that. It's options that are available to you.
Okay, so let's have a look at one last thing because I would like to cover it. We are going to go back, leaders, and followers are going to do a little decoration around our foot. This is how it's going to work. So first of all, I would like to mention the fact that we are going to use the inner lane, which is the follower onto our right space, and it's not in lane. Yes? So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to invite my partner a little bit there, and I'm going to go a little bit down, and I'm going to flex a bit, to make her understand that maybe there's a food here, so that she can understand there's an opportunity for decoration. 1, 2, 1.
So I'm just going to show you first only the right leg, step, step, pique. The energy of the pique is down up. So you are not going, especially not to his leg, because what happens is the energy is too much.
It's not very pleasant because this early you were like in a little dream and suddenly you have this huge impact on the foot, so it's not.
No,
Why, does it?
no, I don't think it works for neither. Neither leaders or followers. I hope not. Okay, so what happens, let me show you just for a second so they can see. I'm going to step and then there is a little indication for me to lower the standing leg. And then what I use is the moment to go down up. So let me show you this way. Down up. Step, down up. So the moment that I am going to be brought down with my standing leg, that's the moment that I'm already going down up, and the position of the foot is not on his ankle, but it's slightly outside. Let me show you. If you can just show it this way.
This way?
No, this way. This way back. No, this way back. Just straight back. Straight back. Okay, so we have straight back. That's it, so they can see. I'm not going to go here, but I'm going to go there, so slightly open, so it doesn't get the pressure there, but no. You see, so it's kind of an illusion that I'm actually have a bounce off his leg. No, that's not what happens.
Yes, there's no bouncing, please.
Hopefully not.
Please. Okay, so interestingly, we can, as a leader, indicate we want this on both sides. So I'm going to have to displace my left and right leg to indicate to my partner, please have this little pique around my foot. So how does it work? Let me show you. Here, there, and then as I bring her around, I'm going to do the same, a bit of a flex, and she's going to have the opportunity to do the other.
The same thing with the left leg. Step right, step left.
Let's go to the end of the room. Right here. So, pam, 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 pam.
Both knees are together, so I keep very little space, I kind of cross here knee with knee, so we don't have an open line of the legs here, but here knee and knees together, knee and knee.
So leaders, this is what you are going to do. You are going to go with the right first. You are going to displace your left a little bit inwards, have a bit of flex, you go back, and then here the right is going to go a little bit, again, right towards the right a little bit, so that she finds she has the space to do the second piqué. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and pam 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 pam. So why is it interesting for the Sarli? Just because it can be, depending on how it's done, the follower can do it very, very softly, so it looks like she's walking on eggs. Very, very soft way to move, and of course this is why it could actually work very well with the Sarli song. Should we show it maybe a few seconds?
Yeah, so this is some funny comments coming in about the numbers that we have had today. Actually, we did pass 100, so
oh, nice.
it's thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much.
We on Instagram is a different crowd, but anyway, you know, we love you all equally. But yes, I don't think it was. They asked if it was the record. If the record of the numbers we had, and yes, because the YouTube viewers together with Instagram viewers, today is the day we had the most viewers.
Is it?
Yes. So
Thank you so much for coming.
All right.
So let's have a quick look. We might run a little bit over today, and we hope it's okay. If you have an urgent appointment, you know, we hope you can still watch the end of the video. Just about a few minutes. Here we go. go. So, as a little conclusion, I would like to mention to you that, as I mentioned earlier, the best way to maybe interpret a Sarli song is to be sensitive to these changes in the rhythm, going from a rhythmical part to a melodic part, and to see if we are more like legato. Legato means all the notes coming together softly, or if it's more staccato, which is a bit softer, a bit sharper, typically given by the violins in a Sarli song. So it goes zun, 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 it's a bit sharper, therefore you want to move. If it's a bit softer, you might want to do things which are a bit more circular in nature.
Okay guys, so we're going to demonstrate it for you and close the class. We always run very, very quickly out of time.
I know.
And we
I think
enjoyed a lot.
we should have more time for the musicality classes.
Okay, so let's just quickly go through a few things before we demonstrate for you what we've done today. Please, please, please help us buy a ticket. This is the only way that we can continue providing for you. We have about 20 classes available for watching, for purchasing. So in order for us to be able to do this 4 times a week, we really would like to ask you for your help. So if you could go, I'm sorry for the page being a little bit sad today. We're going to print another one. But anyway, you have here the link where you can go and pay for tickets for these classes. Okay, and then moving on here. There you go. Now, if you have missed some of our classes and you'd like to have a look at what we've been doing, this place is where you can go for all the selection of the classes that we have available. That's the library link. There you go. And finally, if you would like to watch this stream or any other videos that we post daily, and we do post a lot of material on Instagram, these are the accounts that we can follow. We post different things on both of these accounts, so feel free to follow if you'd like. We have a really wonderful community both on Instagram and YouTube, so you can join in whatever platform you feel most comfortable with.
Okay, so just as a little conclusion, there is a lot of content on orchestras and music on the Tango's website, tango.co.uk. As a matter of fact, we have translated quite a few songs and we've analyzed them in the societal context of Argentina in the 20s, 30s, 40s and 50s. So very interesting content. You just have to go to tango.co.uk and click on blog and you see the music translation or the song translations there. I recommend that you have a look. So,
yes, let's close the class, let's dance.
Let's dance.
And demonstrate what we talked about today.
Okay.
Gym UK lunchtime
Yes.
for the weekly workout.
And I wish you a very end of weekend. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to send an email or a message to our WhatsApp group.
Or you can also DM me on Instagram or Bruno.
Okay, so happy Sunday and have a
Lots
great
of love to you
Saturday.
guys.
See you guys.
Bye.